Hey, what's up everybody, and welcome back to the channel. And over the last decade, PlayStation has done an excellent job with their platforms. There's just a lot of really good games that you can play on both the PlayStation 4 as well as the PlayStation 5, especially when it comes to big blockbuster titles. And that's all great and everything, but unfortunately, some games do slip through the cracks. It's just kind of hard to keep up with all these games, and that's why this video's here. Today we're actually going to take a look at 12 different hidden gems available on both the PlayStation 4 as well as the PlayStation 5. Once again, you just kind of love backwards compatibility because all of these games will be available to play on the PlayStation 5. But with that said, yes, we're going to take a look at 12 different hidden gems, and do keep in mind that all of this is only my opinion. Yours might be completely different, and if I don't talk about a game that you believe deserves to be on this list, make sure to let me know in the comments below. With that said, let's just go ahead and jump right into the list. And to start this list off, I actually have a game that really took me by surprise when it released earlier this year, and that is Kaze and the Wild Mask. Now, the developers did send me a code for free, and you know what? I'm really personally glad that they did, because I don't think I would have tried this game otherwise, and that would have been a shame because this game truly is an excellent 2D platformer. And right away, this game does wear its heart on its sleeves, as it's very clearly inspired by the original Donkey Kong Country, which, that's okay by me because that's actually some of my favorite games of all time. I loved those games growing up, and you can see here that the mechanics work very similar. You had the animal companions, it's got secrets that you can find throughout the level, and it's just an overall really fun game. Now, I will say that the main character here does play most similar to Dixie Kong from the original Donkey Kong Country, and I don't think it reaches quite the same heights as the original trilogy, but it's still a really good 2D platformer that I would definitely recommend. Now, next up here, I actually have a first-party PlayStation title, which is kind of odd to see on a hidden gem list, but this is a game that unfortunately did slip through the cracks, and that would be Genie. And while this game isn't necessarily the most action-packed game and it doesn't excel at things like combat, what it does offer is just artistic beauty, a relaxing gameplay experience, and a heartwarming story. You do play as a teenage artist that's often bullied, and this is a main theme of the game, as this town that they explore is just filled with darkness and negative emotions. But once the protagonist finds a genie and a magical paintbrush, you can soon bring this town filled with darkness back to life by filling it with all of these magical artistic pieces. Its heartwarming story combined with its exploration and creation is always such a joy, and it just feels perfect together. If you are looking for a good emotionally driven story with some fun exploration, Genie might be the game for you. One of the reasons that PlayStation recently acquired Housemarque is because they make incredibly fun experiences, and Nex Machina is the perfect example of just that. In fact, I would say Nex Machina Death Machine might possibly be one of the best arcade experiences that you can play in modern day times, or really of all time. Housemarque just understands what makes a good arcade-like experience, and Nex Machina Death Machine is a fantastic twin-stick shooter that does just that. And right away, I'm going to go ahead and say that this is a very challenging game, as various enemies are just going to bombard you all at once. Now, each enemy will have their own tactics that really makes the gameplay just so chaotically fun, and that's kind of how I would explain Death Machina. On the surface, it looks like it's just pure chaos, but there's really so much more that's going on here. You're going to have to learn how to juggle each enemy. You're going to have to learn how to maneuver across small spaces and how to use your weapons. You'll have to learn how to manage your cooldown meters, and it's just always such a fun but also challenging experience. I'd also say there's some incredibly fun boss encounters, but in terms of an arcade-like experience, you're really not going to find much better than Nex Machina. It seems like anymore, it's a little difficult to find completely original games, but here we have this little puzzle platformer by the name of the Pedestrian, and it is such a refreshing experience. Now, on the surface, this technically is a platforming puzzle game, but really the main focus of this game is its puzzles in specific. You play as a stickman figure that travels from pedestrian sign to pedestrian sign, and you're going to solve these various puzzles across the world. You're going to have to reorganize and link different signs to find the correct path to take. You're going to be pushing boxes and navigating laser obstacles. Yes, there will be some platforming, of course, but again, the main focus is easily the puzzle element of this game, and I would say that the Pedestrian is one of the most engaging puzzle games that is available right now. It's unique, it's charming, and it's just an overall great experience. Now, if you're a person that grew up enjoying 3D platformers, especially during the PlayStation 1 era with games like Medieval, then Pumpkin Jack is a game you might want to be paying attention to. This is a game that really felt like it came directly from the late 90s or early 2000s, and it's just that classic 3D collectathon experience. Now, it doesn't necessarily bring anything new to the table when it comes to the platforming genre, but it doesn't really have to, because everything that it does it very well. Again, it's that classic experience. It's got plenty of things to collect. It's got charming visuals. You're going to have boss encounters at the end of each level with their different stages of combat. And it's just an enjoyable overall experience, especially if you grew up playing these beloved 3D platformers. Now, this game, though, is split between two different styles of gameplay because you have its action-based combat and then you have its 3D platforming, neither of which are overly difficult, but both are very satisfying. So here I think with Pumpkin Jack, you're going to just get a really solid 3D platformer and probably one of the better 3D platformers that's been made in modern times. Now, if you're just looking for a pure gameplay experience that is insanely fun, then I have to bring Ghost Runner to your attention, because this game is an absolute adrenaline rush. This is a challenging first-person hack-and-slash platformer, and you're going to need to focus in this game because death lies around every corner. But once completed, you feel that sense of reward. You do have plenty of abilities that you can take advantage of, whether it be wall run, you have dash, slide, a grappling hook to take you to location to location, and you can even slow down time to dodge the various attacks incoming. So not only is this a challenging, fast-paced game, but there's also a lot of different mechanics here to master. Sure, it might look chaotic and everything, but you have to be precise in how you want to move, and you're always going to need to think on your feet. So if you're just looking for an insanely fun, fast-paced game, then look no further than Ghost Runner. Now, here I have an intriguing entry, especially if you're looking for a good story-driven game, being AI the Sonium Falls. And the thing about this particular game is that it's actually coming from the creator of the Zero Escape franchise. And if you've played those games, you kind of know what you're getting yourself into here with AI Sonium Falls. Now, with AI the Sonium Falls, you do play as a detective, and you're trying to solve a mystery about a brutal serial killer, and the overall plot, premise, as well as just the well-written characters is always going to push you forward to solve more of this ongoing mystery. Of course, you actually have an impact on the story itself with the numerous branching paths, but the cool thing about this game is that if you don't like the path that you're taking, or sometimes you kind of reach a dead end, well, you can actually start back at any point in time and then choose a new path by making new decisions. It's a nice little touch on a game like this, and again, if you do like story-driven experiences, then AI the Sonium Falls is a fantastic game. I will, however, say that it does over-sexualize some elements, and that might turn some people off, but if you're okay with that type of stuff, then again, AI the Sonium Falls is a fantastic game. By this point, most people seems to know what the Souls-like genre is. From Software may have created the Souls-like genre with games like Dark Souls and Bloodborne, but there's been a lot of different games that's tried to emulate that style of gameplay, that slow, methodical, precise combat with a reward of currency that you will lose once you die. And well, Salt and Sanctuary is one of those games, and in fact, if Dark Souls was a 2D Metroidvania style game, I'd picture it exactly like Salt and Sanctuary. Salt and Sanctuary really does feel like a 2D Dark Souls, and I say that as a compliment. It really feels like the developers just understood what made Dark Souls so good, and I think the thing that they really just knocked out of the park with this game is the atmosphere. It gives you that dark and gloomy feel, but then there's also the excellent, well-crafted combat. You're going to have to be methodical and use the roll mechanic to dodge the various incoming attacks. And then there's the challenging boss encounters. Yes, it might be a little too challenging for some people at times, and some people might not even necessarily like the balance of it, but it does offer that challenging, rewarding experience that you look for when it comes to genres like this. One of the best RPGs that I've had the privilege of playing in recent years would be a small little independent game by the name of Crosscode. Now, Crosscode is kind of a game inside of a game, and what I mean by that is that you actually play as a character that plays inside of an MMO. And as strange as it might sound, it actually feels like a real breathing MMO. You're going to meet various characters throughout the world that you really connect with, and it feels like you actually know them as a person. I think the dialogue in Crosscode was just so masterfully done, and it really does feel like the developers understands the social aspect of what makes an MMO. They just know how important that social aspect is to an MMO, and it really plays out here in the story. Overall, I just think that the story is excellent when it comes to Crosscode, but it goes just so far beyond that because the gameplay is just equally as good, if not even better. Now, there's two different elements to this game. You have its very fast-paced hack and slash type of combat. This very much is an RPG, so as you level up, you're going to have plenty of different abilities to unlock and how you prefer to play. And then there's also this dungeon aspect to Crosscode that almost plays out kind of like a Zelda dungeon. There's going to be a ton of well-crafted puzzles throughout all these dungeons, always ending with a boss encounter, which I have to say, this game is actually quite challenging as well. I just think from top to bottom, Crosscode in every facet that it tries to be good at, it just does it superbly. It's got a good story, good characters, good writing, good combat, good puzzles, and great boss encounters. Every aspect of Crosscode is great, and if you like RPGs, then this is a must-play game. For whatever reason, Vanillaware often makes great games that goes overlooked. They've made games like Odin Sphere, Dragon's Crown, and Mirror Moss of the Demon Blade, all of which I would highly recommend. In fact, Odin Sphere is available on the PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5. But debatably their best game yet, 13 Sentinels, is a little different than games that they've made in the past. I mean, sure, it still has a very attractive art style that you've come to know and love when it comes to Vanillaware games, but this is actually a visual novel style of game with some strategy RPG gameplay mixed in. Now, I will say right away, when it comes to the strategy RPG gameplay, I think it's satisfying, but it's not necessarily mind-blowing either. What really stands out with this game in specific is actually its brilliantly told story and writing. There's just certain games out there that you just kind of connect with the story and its characters, and with 13 Sentinels, that's exactly what you're going to get. It's just got this mysterious, complex plot with a ton of different characters that's involved, and you just kind of watch and see how all the characters are involved with the overarching story. It's just fascinating to see how it plays out, and really, if you do like story-driven games, then this really is one of the best games that's released in recent years. PlayStation has always been well known for their first-party output, making games like God of War, Uncharted, Ghost of Tsushima, Sly Cooper, Ratchet & Clank, and really the list just kind of goes on and on. But one game in specific that they released last generation for the PlayStation 4 went a little bit under the radar, and that would be Gravity Rush 2. And it is just absolutely criminal that more people have not played this game. It is just such an overall unique experience. The art style is just so beautiful in Gravity Rush 2. It has a great world to explore. The characters are charming, and for that matter, I think it has well-written dialogue that just oozes charm. Really, just as you would expect when it comes to a first-party PlayStation game, this game is great from top to bottom. But the thing in specific that really makes Gravity Rush 2 just so special is its unique gameplay. So basically, you do play as a superhero in Gravity Rush 2, where you can manipulate gravity and fall up, down, left, or right, or any which direction you want to go. You can basically fly with the manipulation of gravity. Then it also has that hack and slash type of gameplay. There's plenty of side quests, and you know what? This game, from a gameplay standpoint, is a real standout. I think if you want a game with a unique gameplay experience and an overall enjoyable cast of characters and story, well, Gravity Rush 2 has it all. This really is just a gem of a game, and I would actually recommend playing the first game as well. And at the number one spot, I have one of my favorite games that's released within the last decade, and that is Bug Fables. Now, if you grew up playing games like Paper Mario and Paper Mario 1000 Years Door, then you're going to feel right at home with Bug Fables. This really is a game in the same vein as the original Paper Mario experiences, and I would actually go so far as to say that I think that Bug Fables does a better job at being Paper Mario than Paper Mario Origami King. I do think that Bug Fables is just a better overall experience, but it goes beyond just nostalgia. Bug Fables is legitimately just a really good game. It's got an enjoyable story with a great cast of characters. I enjoyed every minute of the story. It is a turn-based RPG, and surprisingly, this game is actually challenging when you play on hard difficulty. I wasn't really expecting that, but it did offer a real challenge, and it really made me strategize that much more. You also have medals to kind of add to your overall statistics and abilities, and it has that interactive element that the original Paper Mario games were known for, where you have to press buttons as you attack your opponents. So again, this isn't just a great Paper Mario-like game, but it's actually one of the best overall turn-based RPGs that I have played in years. Anyways, though, that's it for this list, but if I missed any game that you think deserves to be on this list, make sure to let me know in the comments below. With that said, make sure to hit that bell notification and subscribe button for more content just like this. Also, if you'd like to support the channel through Patreon, thank you for making this content possible. Peace out.